Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the Face Off. Friday night. It is the beginning of a new month. And Peter Kivazo, your host. Okay, interesting way we are closing the week. On the panel, on the extreme left is usual suspect, Charles Romshana. Welcome, Charles.
The Almighty God is great.
And all the way from Karamoja, David Pulko.
Wow. Good evening, viewers.
When were you last in Karamoja?
I'm going there tomorrow.
No, you didn't answer the question. The question was when you were last there.
You see, because Adam was in Karamoja, he was told, where are you? Instead of saying I'm in Karamoja, he said he was hiding behind a tree. So I hear you. I was there the last 3 weeks, sorry.
Okay, is it raining in Karamoja?
Unfortunately, our crops are failing, but it's a patchwork here, patchwork there.
And
Majong doesn't answer questions straight.
all right, and of course, at the center is Mohammed Nsereko, Kampala Central. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
Viewers, one of those things that happened in this country is as the Mohammeds were celebrating Eid around Kampala, on the morning of that day, we had several evictions along the railway line. And it stickled me for a whole week. It is not the evictions that really bother me. I mean, yes, they are painful, but it is the picture beyond these evictions that raise my subject today. The Uganda Railway that was built by the coolies for the British was a gateway to Uganda to draw copper from Kilembe for the Mzungus. But ultimately, it gave transport to this country. It got to a time when children in this country did the railway as their transport. There was a time in this country that we had a public bus service. Those that grew up when I grew up, we had Uganda People's Bus Service. We had Uganda Transport Corporation, UTC, bus service.
What UTC and Uganda people?
Yeah, Uganda People's and UTC. Those things sound like they were in, God knows, the Middle Ages. They haven't happened in Uganda. Beyond that, there was a time this country had an airline. Uganda Airlines. I was privileged as a young boy to fly on Uganda Airlines, and it was a pride to fly the crane. It isn't there. That did not end there. Even the little things they handled, like handling services at Entebbe, we passed on to people that would run business smarter. Who are these people that run business smarter than Ugandans? Is it that Ugandans do not need these public utilities? Is it that Ugandans are so bad that we cannot even run public utilities? The people that run our electricity are from South Africa. We haven't yet privatized the water. The latest that I have for you from the corridors of Parliament as they are discussing the new public-private partnership bill, it hasn't become law.
Not as yet.
It hasn't become law as yet. Peter Kivazo will be comfortable, or a company named as such, to own a road between Kira Road and Ntinda. I help in the construction, I pay, and I'll be leased the road for, let's say, 10 years. I collect a levy. The only requirement will be I allow the police, I allow a public ambulance, and who else? Fire brigade. Those ones will be mandatory. They can use the road. That is true of the Entebbe-Kampala Express highway. Gentlemen, what is the problem? Because as we see the evictions of the railway, we are evicting people not so that Kampala Capital City Authority runs a railway, a train service. No, so that Araviara, owned by Shentam, 51%, that belongs to the government of Egypt, and other private entrepreneurs can run business. Are we so shabby as a country that we can't run public utilities? All we can do is the other policing work? Is it because we are lazy? Or do we need a rethink? Do we need to change the paradigm in this business running? David, I'll start with you.
It's the wrong person to start. Because one,
You were in government when you started the song
But Chief,
of privatize, sell. I actually asked, did we privatize or did we deregulate? Because those are two different things.
you see, at a time when Ugandans were less suspecting, when they were trusting, when they had hopes that the new people that had come to government were all about wananchi, and the word wananchi was in their lips. There would be no statement that would end without wananchi. But this group of people, I call them bushmen, have ended up creating a bush state. And therefore, Uganda today is suffering from bushism. Whether they learned how to eat with a capital E in uppercase from the bush, like Nyangaus, they are eating literally everything.
Nyangao is hyena.
Hyenas. So where did these people, they don't eat in a small E.
Retail.
If you tell them to spell the word eating, they write it in capital letters. So it has ceased to be eating. It's actually more immoral. So what am I saying? I'm saying that at that time, it looks like a people with a different culture took over the state control. Their culture is that if government has money, it must be stolen. Government is not supposed to own anything. If government has got railways, they must be sold off. If they have airplanes, it must be sold off. If they are houses, if they are cars, everything. And yet government has the biggest responsibility to provide for health, education, what. So for them, they believe that individuals must be more richer than the state. So this is the character, this is the belief, the religion of those who took over power courtesy of the Luero Bush War. And these bushmen have created a bush state and they have robbed us of our national assets. Time has come for Ugandans to wake up from that slumber. It looks like there was a huge accident that a majority of citizens are unconscious. They're in the casualty ward. So things like these must wake us up and we start to question and hold these people accountable. Isn't it about time to say what happened? Because there are people who worked for Uganda, they built Uganda. But these people, if you go to a government office, you'll find the toilet is really horrible. You find the office, but when you go to their own houses, they are paved. When you go to their farms, so it looks like they have made a state where you come to hunt, to rob, steal, and go and build your own personal farm and your personal. So they are therefore now as parasites. They are rich not because they are hardworking. It's just because they don't play by the rules. So they have disadvantaged everybody else and stolen, taken for peanuts. You sell a dairy corporation for $1. Are you a pastoralist? Are you serious? You know, a milking cow you sell for $1. Where do you come from? So no wonder in this country there seems to be a corrupt group of pastoralists. These people don't really pass as pastoralists. I think they're just masquerading as pastoralists. Because you cannot, even when you reshuffle, you take a tick from the ear of the cow and put to the udder of the cow. And so the way they do their reshuffle these days in government. Take a minister who's stealing from here, you put the other side, and that kind of thing. Are you really a pastoralist? A tick goes to the fire. So what am I saying? I'm saying that Uganda Airlines, yes. But who took the most lucrative part of the airlines? The handling services, the ground handling. Enhance. The shareholders are known. Some of them are now in New York with the head of whatever. The Salehs are there. Although Saleh had to sell office, whatever. But how did we lose our asset? There's necessaries here with this brother-in-law to Msime, who was a chairman. Is it damaging director of Uganda Railways or managing director? Some of these people are thief accountant. Instead of being a chief accountant, instead of being a managing director, you become a damaging director. So I'm telling you, Chief, words have lost meaning. And I want to calm down here and say, Ugandans are not asleep. We know these are open secrets, how Uganda Commercial Bank goes. How come other governments are running business? Like Kenya Commercial Bank is open a branch in Mbale, is about to open even in Moroto. Okay, it's there in Yambio and so forth. And then our commercial bank is no more. Other governments run airlines. Even just Rwanda, which began yesterday, they are running the airline. So how come others are running?
In America, you can't fly
How-
only the
you know,
outside Delta. Yeah.
So yeah, of course, even to get to America now, all the government departments, like have flown Africa Strategic Center for Strategic Studies, which is a U.S. university, defense university. They are not allowed to fly you into U.S. or out of U.S. without using American Airlines. Any government department in America, you can fly where, but there must be at least an American airline to pick you from Amsterdam or from Turkey or from wherever into America and take you back, whether to London or what, for you. So this thing, and these are people who talk about patriotism, and their actions are moving on a wrong
Who's there,
axis.
David? Charles, before I bring in Mohammed, there was the original concept of Uganda Development Corporation, Development Bank, with the Development Corporation was that government of Uganda, because the concept of privatization is not new. Dr. Obote in the second Obote regime thought that government would divest itself of business. But there was the Uganda Development Corporation whose core objective was to invest in major investments where individuals like you and I wouldn't. Then government would divest those to people and keep reinvesting the money. Even that we lost. We lost the development bank, or what is left of it is a fight, a hassle. So do we need to move back and roll back and say, wait a minute, we need to reignite government in business?
Can we?
Or can government actually do
So you are
business?
saying, can we rewind? That's
Yes.
the fundamental question. You see, you are young. By all standards, why do you want to get blood pressure? Really? Why do you want to stress yourself? Well, the moment you go into this time to investigate these things, I can assure you, if your heart is rousy, you will get a heart attack. Yes, this one, take my word, because I ventured into this when I was, that time I was still guild president, would investigate, capture someone, and you see where the fellow has run, you tell, hold, you come back. So I'm advising you go through at it, whereas you will leave your family at a very young age. You know, when I was in second...
That is intimidation.
No, I'm serious. There are certain things you can't rewind. When I was in senior 2, I was staying somewhere in the village, Bugangari, and the lady would count chicken, the chicken pieces. More they are 10, and you know they are 10. But how do you go around it? How you go around it? You have your own private tomatoes. you make the first soup. The other first soup, you swallow that one. Swallow another round of soup, and then afterwards you pour in water. And but this soup is like the water of a egg. But the meat is intact. Why is the problem? You count your pieces, they are 10. But the soup is as clean as really. So yeah, but you didn't give me enough tomatoes. There is no oil, there is no nothing. That's why it's like that. But it's finished. You've drank the best chicken. You clean your lips like a pussy, and it's done. Now this is what has happened of our corporations. You have never been in Sumbusa. When you are being in Sumbusa, you keep on eating the outer skin. By the time you eat the outer skin of 10 Sumbusas, you only need a few pieces. You have Sumbusa in you. This is what they have done. Uganda Railways Corporation, because of its capability to transport oil in the bulk. That's why you're hearing about Uganda Railways. You're not hearing about Uganda Railways because it's going to help business move faster. No, they have no business. They have no business with your business, whether you delay or not, as long as you pay taxes. They are talking about Uganda Railways Corporation, Uganda Railways, because we are now going to be more transporting oil in the bulk. And if you are talking about Uganda Railways and you're talking about revamping it, whether you're using the military or not, and you begin with Pakwachi line, then that should tell you. Because what do you get from Pakwachi? You do no longer have tobacco. Initially it was for tobacco. Tobacco is no longer an issue. It's because it's going to be helping in moving oil. Now, who owns that wing? That branch of Uganda Railways Corporation. If you have
Not RVR. Certainly not RVR.
Now, who owns it?
I think the company belongs to, I think it belongs to Charles Mbire.
Now, the best you do is that you go before Mr. Sordoti and you tell Mr. Sordoti quietly that the one who owns this company is so and so. You have even heard Protocol. Protocol is very courageous, but when he was mentioning the name, he said, he's somewhere in New York. Because even these names have become...
No, but who knows? This is a government, this is a public
what
secret,
I'm saying,
poorly kept secret.
Now these names, you give them numbers. Number 1, number 2, number 3. The Rift Valley Railways is owned by, I've just been checking on the net, Kenya Uganda Rail Holdings. And one of them, among the holders of Kenya Uganda Railways Holdings, one of them is Bomi Holdings Limited, which is, and it has 15%
Yes.
of that. And who is the owner of that 15%? Charles Mbire.
Charles Mbire, yes.
Yes. Now, do you know what it means?
No, but there is Shentam owned by government of Egypt, which has 51%.
Now, I can also say they say there is one, because there is a way our wives these days have those very interesting names. Nina, Nana, Nono, Nunu, Rola, Shanti. So you need to go and check where those names come from. You can even have Uganda, you can even have Libya Limited, you can have Muammar Gaddafi Enterprises Limited. Those names can always come in. But here is Mbire with 15%. Now, do you know what 15% of Uganda Railways is? Forget about these lines which they are now using for smelting nails and singenge. But the land, because where you see them steel corporations, now the current interest is in land. Is no longer in land, it's in the other soup of the first soup of the chicken. That's where the interest is, land. If it is UBC, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, it is land. If it is, of course, the airport, they took handling services, but there is someone who has a title in his briefcase. Land. He said, this one I'm also taking. And it was a big fight. Now, so think of this National Housing Corporation. You go and look for its owners. But what about it, Kasokoso? It's land. Now they've come under this. It is not that they want to create space to decongest the city in terms of jam etc. No. Otherwise, you would now be thinking about who is the owner of this land near police? You remember they demolished that part, which used to be
in Zambia.
In Zambia, which used to house the staffs.
Yes,
the
railway quarters.
Who is the owner? Why doesn't Masisi get the other police dogs and go and chase that owner who has so far demolished that part? You can't. Check all this land, because when you follow Uganda Railways line, Nepchireka, most part of the Nambole land belongs to rail.
Yes.
There is the other part behind police, where you get the police. Most of that part of that belongs to railways. So if you have to measure the size, if you have to go by that size, then you come to Nakawa. Then capital shoppers, around capital shoppers should be railways. How about the Akamwes hostels down there? It should be railways.
That land was leased by KCC Land Board to individual developers.
From who? You see, because initially most of that government was government land. Like you see, this side is defense of railways. The other side is Nakawa, MUBS, which used to be a college. And you need to go and study their history. Where did they get it from? How much did they leave to railways? You go to Uganda Revenue Authority. The customs department had a small piece of land there. Initially it was stores for some other government companies, and they've taken all of that. So someone is looking at railways now. We have been checking the company that is consulting for them. I think called
Gulf Consults.
Gulf Consults. You can check it on the internet. At best, the internet, Google takes you to some Muzugo in Kororo, and even it's not even a Muzugo. It's a garage. That's where it is. This is a company that has no email address. It's a company that has one telephone line by landline. They don't even have mobile. These days, otherwise you should be on social media, you should be everywhere to advertise yourself. They are not there. You can't even see their history of what they have been doing.
So Charles,
now, and these are fellows who are consulting on the size, on expansion, on construction. When did the KCCA advertise this company, the Gulf Consult? When was this procurement advertised? If you went and in the PPDA, do you find them? So in other words, this is it's to doing the public, because it appears popular. It appears. Why? When did the KCCA begin evicting for Uganda Railways Corporation.
I'll
When?
pause
Imagine
you.
on ED day.
When
I'll
should
pause you
they?
there, Charles. Mohammed,
It's totally unacceptable.
I'm still thinking of the bigger picture. I'm one of the people that think the urban poor need a railway. Certainly. I think the Pulkos and Mohammed Nserekos need a reliable airline even to do internal flights, and Uganda Airlines would serve that purpose. I'm one of the people that are totally sold to that idea. We need a railway for especially the urban poor. We need a local airline. We need utilities to be reliable. And I am told Ugandans won't run them decently. If you have a South African that runs Umeme, I can assure you that you will have electricity, that's what they've told us, and they will be made profitable. If you have
That's
a
under
Ugandan...
Mwenda type.
But you have ESCOM with Mbire.
I hear you. There are those
Yes.
PR officers.
Telecommunications.
Hold. When we had UTL, we had its issues. When we sold it to the Libyans, at least now you know MTN will give you decent business, Airtel and the others. Are Ugandans this bad? They are unable to run business? Or we are this greedy? We will grab everything that will come to us.
And shouldn't Ugandans
Mohammed.
also own shares?
Oh, that is also very important.
even if we are not
should we
running
have a
it,
cap?
shouldn't
Should
we
we have a
own
cap
something
that says
as a
that
people?
after running a business for 5 years, float it on the stock exchange, and so much share should be sold to the natives?
Well, there is one thing, and this is something Ugandans ought to understand, and I've always come out and spoken about it, and we've all spoken about it. A government with people that have no idea on how to manage a single business cannot lead others to success. If a government says, if the players in a government say, we cannot manage, because the moment we manage in a business, it collapses. The simple answer lies within the hands of the people who take that ballot. Because by virtue of their utterances, they have proven to you beyond reasonable doubt that they cannot manage you. These are not mere supervisors to come to power to overlook and see how business is good. And you, let me tell you, there are very many companies in which the Ugandan government has shares. My brother Omushana knows. Kinyara, Lugazi, this company of Meta. Since when did they ever report profits going to the consolidated fund? You always look at the national budget, revenue expected. There's nothing from government-owned companies.
Mama,
I'm trying to give you one.
Yes,
And
yes,
yet we
yes,
guarantee
yes.
loans for them.
Please.
Just hold on so I have a little more time. Viewers, I'll take a very short break, and when we return, so we can give Muhammad a little more time than that. Don't go away.